the nail engineer, and today we've got a look that is inspired by three things. Firstly, the acquisition of a new gel bottle ink colour 073, which I bought to do like baby boomers and a soft French look. The other influencing factor is this gorgeous glitter, which is Magpie Angel, which actually my nail friend Jane, she came to have a play date at my house and she had this with her, and she was like, "You won't believe this." I'm like, "Yeah, it doesn't really look like much, not really my kind of thing." But look, when you get it on the nail, it's like Crystal Pixie, except when you encapsulate it, it doesn't dull the sparkle, and it's a fraction of the price as well. And I just think it's so beautiful, and you can put it over all different colours and get so many different effects with it. So I definitely recommend this. What we're going to do first is sort out the French thumb, because I'm switching it up on my other hand. Now I want this to have like a fairly deep smile line at the side, so all I'm doing is I'm just popping a dot there and then kind of going over to the other side and popping a dot on the other side. Can you see? Just so that it's nice and even and like a roughly parallel line with the tip. Just to give me a guide, because you know what it's like, you do your French and then you end up kind of going like a little bit crazy with it. And there at the top I'm just putting a little bit of a curve there, just to signify where I want it to meet up. Now obviously this is a hell of a lot easier when you're not doing it on camera, but you just want to sweep down in as clean a motion as you can, or sweep up from your dot up to the top and the middle, just until you get that kind of rough line in. And don't worry about it too much at this stage, because you can kind of like zhuzh it a bit, and then you just basically load up your brush and paint it in. And you can do this in a couple of steps if you like. I find often with whites they can be prone to wrinkling, so it is often better to like just err on the side of caution and do it like in a thin layer to begin with. And once you've got your basic shape, then you can like kind of feather it around, make sure that your line is nice and crispy. If you've got any little bubbles there, you can pop them, etc, etc, and you just basically just zhuzh it up until you've got something that you're happy with. So I've done my French tip there, just in 2 coats, and if you've watched any of my other videos before, you've probably heard me exclaiming that I hate pawn nails, like really like super white kind of French tips like that. I like to kind of dull them down just a little bit, just to soften it up, you know. The other thing that's great about doing a Faffy French, I call it, is that you hardly get any line there. Can you see how flush that is? Because actually where the line is, it's very thin. Most of the product's actually beyond that line. So over this, real simple, is just a thin coat. And I hadn't thought before about me doing this on my thumbs, because sometimes I struggle with thumbs to get like an even coat, just because it's like at a different angle to the rest of the fingers. And I always think, oh well, I get 4 times as much practice of painting the other way, don't I? But you just want a nice thin even coat, and you don't want to float a big amount over the nail. You want to keep the brush kind of relatively dry, like I haven't there, because what you want to avoid is the white kind of grabbing onto too much of that pigment. So I've cured that for 60 seconds in my lamp, which is an LED lamp, and I'm ready to apply my little gems. Now on this one I've got them out towards the pinky, but I think on this hand, probably on this side, is going to be a little less kind of bothersome. So now I could actually use rubber top coat, because it is the shiz. at keeping gems in place. But for the purposes of the look, I'm putting these gems up. I'm really not bothered about them going the distance for like a long period of time. So I'm just going to use regular top coat for this. And actually, I should just turn on the side there before I finish painting. You can see that there's hardly a visible line there between like the French white and the rest of the nail, and whatever tiny little ledge there was will definitely be rounded out with the top coat. I'm just using my little gem picking kind of wax pencil thing. I might actually put 3 since I've got quite a bit more kind of space to play with. And all I basically did was I just put little triangles on them. That's all, just like a cluster of like one between the pearls and then one either side of that, and it kind of makes like a little bow tie between the 2 pearls. And don't be too prissy about getting them on kind of perfect at this stage. Best bet is to just dunk them on the nail, however many you're going to use. So I'm going to need like 12 in total, because trust me, it's like building a house of cards. Just as you get one perfectly into position, then you move another one, and it's like Jenga or Jesus catching marbles, whatever you want to call it. So I find the best thing to do is to just kind of plonk them roughly where they're going to be, and then faff them with the orange stick, which is good for positioning because it's not like grabby. So I mean, I'm sure that you can figure this stuff out for yourself. But basically I'm going to get this one where I want it, which is in this corner, and like then work outwards from there, if that makes sense. And I've just noticed my balls are different sizes. Isn't that terrible when your balls are different sizes? And there's my little ones on the side. Now I'm just going to have a final check around the nail, so that, yeah, that looks pretty cute to me. I don't know what you think. I just quite like my little bow ties. Yeah, so I reckon that's good. I'm far enough away that I can come back in with a little bit more top coat just to make sure it's secure, and I'm just having a good look around the nail before I put it into cure, just to make sure that I've got no voids on there. And just while I'm curing it, what I also like to do is, if I've got gems on the side like that, is kind of tilt them so that the side that they're on is sunny side up for like the first 10-20 seconds, whatever, just to make sure that like gravity doesn't interfere with them and like drag them down towards the sidewall. Now we're going to move on to the glittering, and for that I've actually applied, it's still wet, a single coat on the tip here and all of the nail here, into which we are going to sprinkle our glitter. So basically all I do is sprinkle on there and give a little pat off of the excess, and then this one's easy peasy. And as I said in the beginning, the only reason I'm putting it onto the colour is just to give it a little bit more dimension, just to kind of like tone it down a bit from being like too bright white. What I should mention is that when I've painted these, I've taken care to not go exactly to the edges, and what you want to do is just very gently just give a little pat at the edges, just to dislodge or push in any little jagged edges. Because although you can kind of give these a little file afterwards, it's just a bit easier to do at this stage. And yeah, the reason why I haven't painted right to the edges is because I need a little tiny gap just all around the nail, just to make sure that I can encapsulate the glitter fully. So before I go into cure, I do just give a little sweep around with an orange stick or whatever you prefer, just to make sure that I've got a nice little gap around there onto which I can get some rubber top coat, which is what I'm using to encapsulate these, and it's really good for encapsulating glitters. So they're all cured up and I've just dusted off, and we're almost at the end of the mani, thank goodness. Now for some people, they would just leave it like this, which is sugared or raw glitter. People would leave it like this raw, but I'm going to be using my hands a lot and they'll get a lot of hammer, and I'll just lose glitter and it'll be scratchy and it'll be annoying and it'll attract dirt and all sorts of stuff. So there. So that's why I do it this way. Now a lot of people will do like the reverse French technique when they're doing glitter tips, which if I was starting with a fresh nail I probably would do also, but I wasn't starting with a fresh nail, like a naked nail I should say. I was starting with existing builder, which I didn't really want to soak all off. So all I'm doing is I'm just kind of trying to keep fairly central, and the only reason I'm putting this on is just to make sure that I do get a nice crisp smile line, because sometimes you can get a little bit of glitter in the wrong place. I've actually been pretty good with this one. So yeah, I would probably form this smile line and the nail bed on its own if I was doing this like from fresh, and then create a little lip, like a bigger lip than I'm creating now. Last thing that I do is just upside down it, just let gravity kind of pull that product forward like to make an apex, and I just want to have just a nice little bit of a curve to it, nothing too much, but just nice and crisp, and much better than on this hand, which I've done with my wrong hand. So I'm just going to go and cure that. So my phone decided to eat my footage of me encapsulating the glitter with my rubber top coat. Sometimes it does this, it's a pain in the ass, but in any case, I'm sure you've seen on my other videos, since I work with glitter so much, I've encapsulated loads of times. Now often what I'll do is, after, like when I'm encapsulating, I'll do it in 1 or 2 coats. I actually managed to do these in one go, which is such a shame that I didn't manage to capture the footage. But what I do is I just do the stick test afterwards, just running the edge of the orange wood stick around the surface of the nail like so, because then you'll feel like any like little snags. Now this one doesn't have any snags, and unusually for me, I'm actually happy with that as is, so I'm not going to need to refine that any further. It could be a little bit more perfect, but I think that that's good enough, and sometimes in trying to make things perfect you can make them worse than they were in the first place. So this one however is another matter. I'm not 100% happy with the shape of it, so I am going to just refine the sidewalls, see how it's like kind of, I don't know, like it's got fatty bum bum. I'm just going to do the usual sidewalls, cuticle, free edge, and then finally your up and over and bevel, just so that we get a nice profile there. And then I'm going to top coat that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the finished look. And I'm wearing my glove like a good girl so I don't knock on my other hand. So that's my glitter tip nail, just refined, if you can see there. So it's nice and smooth at the cuticle, and as thin as I can really get it at the side walls, which you can't really see very well without kind of starting to bite into the glitter. And I'll just give it a little wipe to get rid of the alcohol. I always think that they look really cool at this this stage, but yeah, if anyone out there in YouTube land wants me to do like a video on how I file and refine, just give me a shout, and yeah, maybe I can sort that out. And I just thought that you might like a little bit of glitter porn there. Don't we just love it when it goes from matte to shiny again? Yay! The nails are all done now. All top coated, refined, glittery, yummy. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this look that I put together, just because I was crushing so much on my new colour 073, and also because I was really wanting to try out doing some freehand mandala work. Here are the individual nails. So that's my wrong hand freehand that I did with my left hand, and we've got the pearls and caviar, which on this hand I've got on my sweary finger. We've got our glitter tips, which looks much better, the one that I've done with my dominant hand, than this one. Much nicer kind of smile line on there. We've got our little Chanel pinkies, and then finally our super glorious glittery angel magpie glitter fingers. So yes, this is my Coco Mandalamoiselle mani. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.